Well, hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're lucky enough to be doing it to. I am Bushka on Blitz, and I am coming to you live, large, loud from the deck chair on the boat of love that is otherwise known as Bushka's house. And I'm driving the Comet. And why am I driving the Comet? Well, having a little bit of a run with my mate Sanimal, and I thought I would let you all know about the joys of gun depression. Now, I've talked about this in lots of other vids, and that's all well and good. Excellent, but not everyone has the time to go through and watch all 500 odd videos that I've put out on this channel, including streams and such, which is a whole lot of videos. Comet has incredible gun depression. And why is gun depression so important? And especially in this meta. There's all kinds of things going on at the moment in the game, but I'd like to point out effective damage numbers. It's all well and good having the best damage in the world, like, say, with the Comet. But there are things that go against you being able to put those damage numbers in. I.e., you might have a crappy armor profile, you might have really poor penetration, and you might have crap gun depression. And if that's the case, then your damage numbers don't really mean a whole lot. What they mean is they are the perfect number when you are in the perfect position and can have uninterrupted fire on a target. But if you've got bad penetration numbers, that doesn't mean jack if you can't get through the armor profile. And if you have no gun depression, you wouldn't be able to do this because you wouldn't be able to get the gun down and do the business. So when you're driving a tank or you're looking at a tank to get, don't just get suckered in by the pure DPM numbers. Because if you're not really experienced, you're going to struggle to actually apply the raw numbers to the targets. And the longer you've been playing the game, the more effective you are at that, and the more you can find ways to actually make tanks work, even when the terrain might not exactly suit them. And what I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about that, and talk a little bit about how you can play both with and without gun depression. And for the with part, obviously I'm kicking off with the Comet because it's a monster of gun depression. It's actually one of the better gun depression tanks that I've run in the game, in terms of real, raw, joyous damage and everything else. For its tier, it does superb damage, and it's got great mobility and good camo. And as you saw when that other Comet and I were trading shots across the top of the ridgeline there, it's actually got a very trollish armor profile. Because of that, you can use the 13 degrees of gun depression. That's right, 13 degrees. Now, 10's considered bloody good on most tanks. Most of the American gun depression tanks have about 10 degrees. The Comet rolls along at 13, which is hot diggity dog. I love me some Comet gun depression. And you saw how it was able to effectively bring the DPM to bear over the edge of that ridge because of that 13 degrees of gun depression. Now, where else can you use this? Well, bugger me, you can't really use it anywhere else, gun depression, apart from on ridges. So you might think that people would realise this, and when they are rolling tanks like the Comet or the Cromwell B, or any of these kind of tanks, that they would look for situations where they can put their tank in that kind of position. But you wouldn't believe how many times in the game I come across tanks like Comets and Crommy Bs and all these kind of vehicles that are just trying to brawl in open spaces and not really taking advantage of the natural attributes and the God-given abilities of aforementioned vehicle. You can see here again, this is the B cap on what would be considered the linchpin cap, really, on Canyon, which is a great map, a really good map. Actually, I've churned out some good maps lately. The temple is, the main temple is excellent, and I think Canyon is really good as well. So you can see we're in the B cap, and we're just trying to put shots across, and gun depression makes that very easy. You don't have to wiggle and jiggle. There is nothing worse than being in a tank like that IS, and I am right on the other side of the cap point, and that guy really, really wants to shoot me, but he just can't get the gun down. And for all that, if he wants to shoot me, he's going to have to come rolling across the top of the cap. So I get to spend quite a bit of time sitting here whacking them while he makes up his mind to go and do just that. Now, this is the Carnarvon, another tank with 10 degrees of gun depression. And that is a Super Pershing, which is also a good old 10 degree of gun depression tank, an American heavy tank. These are two, well, the Super Pershing's a pseudo-heavy tank. And you can see that Lurva's just not capable of getting shots up because he doesn't quite have enough gun depression. He's right there, but he's not quite there. And that means that he's not able to bring to bear one of the finest tank guns, one of the finest heavy tank guns at Tier 8. It's really, really important. So I know that if I'm in a Carnarvon, and you probably saw, I don't know if I've released it yet, I've done another Carnarvon, I won't spoil everything, but if I'm in a Carnarvon or a Comet or a Cromwell or an M46 Patton or an FV422 or one of these kind of tanks, I'm always looking to put myself on a hill or a ridge line. And it's not like a super steep hill where I can't shoot over it and they can't shoot over it. I'm looking for a position where I can really comfortably angle my tank up, get bounces, or at least accentuate my armor profile. Now, what do I mean by that? When you're on top of a hill and you're peeking over the top, your tank is angled up. So your armor is actually at a more acute angle than it would be otherwise. And this is important because it means tanks like the FV4202, even though they have absolutely horrible turret armor, can make their armor more effective if they are on the top of a hill rather than at the bottom of a hill, because being at the bottom of a hill flattens your armor out and makes it easy to pen, and being at the top of a hill accentuates the armor and makes it harder for them to penetrate. And that means if you are in a 10-degree gun depression tank, or a 12, or a 13, get to a hill, get to a ridgeline, get to something that you can actually use. What about if you don't have the gun depression? And you're in, say, a Soviet or a Chinese medium, which is a knockoff of a Soviet medium, like the Type 59. Or me, I'm in the 047, which is obviously a knockoff of that whole thing. Look at that tank. Like, he's going to angle that up, and he's got a strong turret, and he's going to go behind the berm, and he's going to put his chassis at an angle so that he goes backwards and forwards, and all I see is red, bounce zones. See? And I'm doing exactly the same to him. Now, this is the move you want to be making for T54s, for T59s, for T62As, for Object 140s, for Type 59s, so I said that already, for T54 Mod 1s, for T54 lightweights, for T44s. I mean, for the for FV4202s, they have really, really steep upper glacises, and for 047s, anything that has that steep upper glacis, like this is the angle. Imagine that you're straight on, you're going to get penned, you're all green, that green is bad. If you can put a small hill or a rock or something where the green part is and only expose the red part, well, hello Dorothy, you've suddenly got a tank that is exceptionally difficult to pen and can go hull down in front of overwhelming force, because it quite simply becomes not so overwhelming. And that's what that T59 was doing just there. Unfortunately, it didn't work so well once he came out, and the IS-3 Defender pushed up on him and just basically hit point traded on him. But look, you'll see here, he's angled, and that means that it's much tougher for me to penetrate because he has a good armor profile. I am likewise doing the same thing to him. I have more gun depression than the Type 59, but for all that, it's not making a huge amount of difference because we can both put shots in on each other. We're just struggling to find a way to penetrate with those shots. You can see I'm angled up exactly the same as that Type 59, and I'm just trying to get the shot away, and he is also trying to do exactly the same thing. And you end up in a standoff, a bit of a stalemate. These are great situations, and you can see players that actually know what they're doing, because as soon as you see someone angling up like that in a Type 59, the alarm bells go off and you think, hey, this is not going to be an easy walkover kill. I'm going to have to make my camo reset. I'm going to have to work my angles. I'm going to try and wait for someone to push up on him and then make use of their hit point pull, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to have to try and get a hatch or a really difficult shot to pen, because you can see he's giving me no easy pens there. Absolutely no easy pens. If you are not doing this and you're wondering why you're sucking nuts, excuse the vernacular, in T54s or 62As or Object 140s, it's because you're not doing that. That's what you've got to be doing when you're on a corner or you're corner fighting. It's why you want to be looking for low slung dunes and such. You don't have the gun depression. You can't poke your head over the top and just wave your elephant-like trunk down like a Comet or a Cromwell B. You have to actually get your butt in the gear, find somewhere and work hard for your shots. You have to move backwards and forwards like this. You have to try and drag shots out of the enemy. You have to make them miss and then come back and hit yours. And it can be tough, especially up against experienced players. And you can see he's trying it to me and I'm giving him absolutely nothing. And I mean, this is the joy of Blitz. This is the nuance. And I'm trying to just hit him on top of the turret. Are we going to get it? No, we're not, because he's not a clown. He's moving back until he actually realizes he's a bit screwed, because he'll kill you every time. Is a tier 8 heavy with 3 shots in the clip, and yeah, you're going down. Once they push on you, you're in all kinds of strife. He still bounces the first one there. Pretty impressive stuff. Gets one into the IS-3 defender, and yeah, I really enjoy that style of play. So that's it. That's how you work with and without gun depression. It really is quite simple. And you're going to see as I play the 047 here, look at my angles. This is a vastly underrated tank, by the way. People got really up this thing and got right up me and were very aggressive with me when this tank came out. And I made a video about the tank saying, hey, this is a good tank. And they were all like, oh, you're a sellout, you're a wargaming sellout, blah, 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 blah. Look at you, you're just driving, this tank looks terrible, it's anime, whatever. Like, I can't help you. This is, I play the game and I play the tanks, and this thing can side scrape. It's got spaced armor on the sides, you can see that covering the tracks. It's got a very, very narrow hull like an Indian turret, a very, very narrow turret like an Indian turret, and it's got a very, very steep upper glacis and plenty of armor around the gun mantlet. If you're looking for a tank that actually also has decent gun handling and decent alpha, it's got 225 alpha, you could go much worse than this thing. And the AP rounds, good pen, everything. People don't like it because it looks different. I don't care about the way they look. I generally don't. I mean, I really, quite honestly, genuinely do not give a rat's whether a tank looks one way or the other. I play the game for the gameplay and for the challenge. Like, that's why I'm here. I really like it. This is one of my favorite tanks. I'm going to show you again. Look at this. Everything about it is that whole angle up behind a berm. I am now, for all intents and purposes, completely shielded from that T30. I get to roll up. I have my angle set to its absolute optimum. I've got a very, very small turret. As soon as he pops out, he's going to get shot, and I'm going to pull back every time. If he doesn't look at me, then I'll stick around and wait for the next one. I'll put one in the side of his turret, the fattest part of the target. And there's only one left, so I'm just going to push up and give him a chance to recoup his losses. If he wants to recoup his losses, he's quite well going to have a shot at the title, but I'm going to drive very fast through here. He's not looking at me. I get to go up beside him and do the thing. I'm Bushka on Blitz. I hope you enjoyed that. That's driving with and without gun depression. Until next time, look after your families and stay safe on the battlefield.